Good evening, I'm Ali Chiasson. We are tracking a winter storm across the U.S. that could impact flights Monday morning. Toronto Pearson tweeted this earlier tonight, advising those who are traveling to the U.S. tomorrow to check their flight status. The weather could affect thousands of them. We could see major delays, even cancellations out of Pearson Airport. Sticking with that wild weather, Sofia Kambalia is tracking everything you need to know. Sofia.
Yes, Ali, 63 million Americans are under some sort of winter travel advisory or warning right now as we speak. This Arctic air is plunging so far south. The same cold that we're experiencing here at home is plunging so far south that the rain snow line in this massive Colorado low that is gripping the U.S. is going through parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, areas that will be gripped by a multi-day freezing rain event. Expect delays at major travel hubs like St. Louis, Kansas, Cincinnati, even Washington, D.C. that is expecting its biggest snowfall in nearly a decade. This is a major snow event for the mid-latitude U.S. In fact, by midweek, that cold, that relentless and stubborn cold will plunge so far south that it'll be below freezing in places like the Sunshine State. On the Great Lakes, are doing a pretty good job at trying to moderate that cold. For us in the south, you will have extreme cold warnings, no doubt, issued in parts of the north and parts of the west of the province. But in the south, that stubborn cold will create more lake effect snow examples throughout this next week, but really not like we saw this weekend, where we saw an impactful but highly localized squall event set up with totals anywhere from 50 to 80 centimeters unofficially. We'll go over all the snowfall that wreaked havoc this weekend more in the long range, but right now the story that is setting up is that of the deep freeze. We will not have a daytime high over the next 14-day period above the freezing mark, and in fact, daytime highs midweek will be approaching minus 20, not even including wind chill values. We'll talk more about the cold in the long range. Ali.
Thanks, Sophia. To other news now. Another MP has come forward calling for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to resign. For his part, Trudeau said he would take the holidays to reflect before making a decision. As David Thurton reports, all this comes ahead of what could be a historic week on Parliament Hill.
Just 3 weeks after an emergency meeting with Liberal MPs, Justin Trudeau is about to face his party yet again. Since Finance Minister and key ally Chrystia Freeland resigned, waves of Liberal MPs have called for Trudeau's resignation. The latest from London, Ontario.
The continued leadership of Prime Minister Trudeau is just not tenable in light, in particular, of what's happened with Ms. Freeland. I've taken the decision to call for him outright to resign today.
Over the holidays, Quebec, Ontario, and Atlantic caucuses signaled they want Trudeau to go. The group represents the majority of Liberal MPs, leaving the Prime Minister with very little support within his own party. Even with that pressure and days before a crucial meeting, Trudeau's future is still unclear. The Prime Minister returned to work on Friday but remained silent and avoided the media, something he has done since Freeland's resignation.
Well, actually, I think he's done. With all those MPs that are asking for his departure, I think this is not realistic to think that he could be in charge for the next election.
That election is due later this year, but the opposition wants it much sooner, and they're already campaigning.
Do I pay my rent or do I buy groceries? So I just want to know what you plan on doing with that.
Well, let's start with food.
The Conservatives and New Democrats releasing these videos.
We can win. If we fight, we can win.
The House of Commons isn't scheduled to return until the end of January, but the opposition parties aren't waiting, with the Conservatives planning to start the process to bring down the government on Tuesday. It's unclear whether the Conservative tactic will work. Also unclear whether Trudeau will step aside. Despite pressure from within his own party, he can't be forced out, leaving the decision in his hands. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
Turmoil continues out of Pickering City Hall. They have now canceled all in-person public consultations and sessions. The mayor says they had to, amid a wave of threats and harassment, sparked by a single city councillor. Lisa Shing reports.
The city of Pickering has witnessed a growing infiltration of alt-right individuals.
A message from the mayor of Pickering announcing all city council meetings are moving online.
But the increasing threats to our safety demand action.
The decision, a result of this councillor, Lisa Robinson, who has a history of controversial opinions, opposing pride events, speaking at a Freedom Convoy rally, her supporters disrupting council meetings for the last year and a half, and making threats. Robinson appeared on this podcast several times, hosted by Kevin Johnston, a man who's pleaded guilty to hate speech in the past, and who said, referring to some Pickering city councillors,
they all deserve a baseball bat in the face.
Several times, Robinson was docked pay after the city's integrity commissioner found she demonstrated behavior hurting marginalized members of society. Staff say nothing has worked.
Our staff don't feel safe. Our colleagues on council don't feel safe, and our visitors to our chambers don't feel safe.
In a statement, Robinson told CBC News the move is a propaganda stunt and posted this response, calling the decision
a blatant attempt to silence dissent, consolidate power, and rig the democratic process.
Pickering isn't the only city experiencing this kind of disruption. Municipal officials from across Canada, as well as places like Australia and the U.S., say they're getting threatened or harassed. This spring, the person in charge of security at the House of Commons said the harassment of MPs has jumped almost 800% in the last 5 years, but it's also increasing at other levels of government.
I mean, it's part of a broader trend in terms of both the sort of the normalization and the mainstreaming of far-right views, but also the increase that we're seeing in terms of violence and intimidation against politicians.
And until there's an indication that intimidation is abating, no one will be meeting here anytime soon. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Pickering.
Starting tomorrow, TTC staff will be equipped with body-worn cameras. The Transit Commission says it's to improve safety and crack down on things like fare evasion. Nama Weingarten has more.
Fare evaders or anyone causing disruption on the TTC could be caught on camera. Starting Monday, all TTC special constables will be wearing body-worn cameras as well as have them in their vehicles. TTC fare inspectors will also be wearing them by the end of next month. Cameras can be turned on during fare inspections and while they're investigating someone they believe to be breaking the law. Staff will have to let riders know if they turn them on, and riders themselves can also ask them to start recording.
There have been a lot of abuses in the past, and I think just being able to document what actually happened in an interaction will help them learn from it and also make the public feel a lot safer.
Their stories will line up with whatever actually happens, so if, that's what I think. I don't think any recording is a bad thing.
There's already cameras on the trains already, and so if somebody's wearing them, it's like just another one, so it doesn't matter, it's the same.
The TTC tested this out in May with a pilot project that equipped fare inspectors and special constables with body-worn cameras. The trial run followed recommendations out of multiple ombudsman reports, one of which was done after a black teenager was tackled and pinned to the ground by TTC fare inspectors in 2018.
We found a lot of positive benefits from the pilot.
TTC Chair Jamal Myers says the body-worn cameras could improve safety and accountability.
So what we found during the pilot was that it increased the safety of the officers. They felt more safe because there was a record of what was happening during interactions.
Myers says it should act as a deterrent for fare evasion, which costs the TTC more than $140 million a year.
We have found that when people are on camera, they're more likely to comply with paying their fares when asked to. We also expect to see a decrease in violence.
More than 60% of those taking part in the pilot project said the camera had a positive influence on rider behavior. 54% said they believe it lowered public complaints. The body-worn cameras come at a cost of $958,000. Nama Weingarten, CBC News, Toronto.
It's the day Ottawa Transit riders have been waiting for. After almost 5 years, the Trillium rail line is reopening with new trains and a lot more track.
It's been a long time coming, and we're looking forward to it opening. It'll open up a lot of opportunities for people to get downtown and down to the airport. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that.
I'm going to try probably the next few weeks taking the train all the way to the airport. 3 trains seems like a lot, but, you know, if it works, it works.
The trains will run starting at 6 a.m. Monday morning. The expanded route takes about 35 minutes to get between Bayview to Limebank stations. Transfers to the airport will also be up and running. It's the first of 3 phases for the Trillium line. The phased approach was one of the recommendations that came out of a public inquiry. The LRT was plagued with issues like door jams and outages when Line 1 first opened in 2019.
I really want to see a positive launch with no problems. I want to see everything go smooth, and I want to see people get quickly to their destinations tomorrow. I really hope we've learned a lot from the errors of 2019 when Phase 1, Line 1 launched.
The project comes with an $840 million price tag and certainly some lessons from that LRT inquiry. To glitzier news now. The Golden Globes are just wrapping up, kicking off the 2025 award season. And to break it all down, let's chat with entertainment blogger Will Wong. Hey there. Will, there has been there's been so much buzz about these major stars who are going head to head in some tough categories. What stood out to you?
Oh my gosh, the race for the Best Picture at the Oscars is just as muddled as it was going into the night. I mean, it's everyone's getting their moment. A clear and defining theme I'm seeing is inclusion in talent that are winning the awards and the stories that are winning Best Drama and Best Comedy Musical. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing that. The HFPA are definitely, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association definitely working on improving.
Yeah, you were saying it was a big night for Asian representation, right? We saw first with Ali Wong winning for the Best Stand-Up Special, which I saw and was great. And what else did we see there?
Shogun just crushed it. They've full-on swept all the television drama categories, and that's amazing. It's amazing for little kids that look like me who are seeing that, and you know, they have role models to look up to now, and they're seeing people that look like them thriving in the entertainment industry, and I think that's a positive message.
And how about the host, Nikki Glaser? She catapulted in her career since the roast of Tom Brady. How did she do in this award show setting?
Well, I did poll my readers on X, and the results are unanimous. The praise is overwhelming for her. 80% of my followers said that she did an amazing job, and I would agree. She's just so smart, sharp, funny, so witty. Loved it.
It's always fun to see which clips go viral after a performance of hers, right? I can't wait to see those. I haven't checked yet, but I'm sure they're
popular
very
for sure. Where she mashed up Wicked and Conclave, that was just genius. Love that.
I love it. And you know, they call us Hollywood North for a reason. There's always a lot of Canadian talent at these award shows. So what did we see this time around?
Oh, for sure. Amazing seeing Pamela Anderson have this career resurgence right now, getting nominated for Gia Coppola's The Last Showgirl. So proud of her. And on the red carpet, she said herself, I'm here to network, I'm here to work, I'm here to meet creatives. And good for her, power to her. That makes us so proud to see her thriving at this stage in her career. And how funny was the pairing of Seth Rogen and Catherine O'Hara. Oh my gosh, that was so Canadian, the humor. I think it went over the audience's head, but hey, we got it. I thought it was hilarious.
I love it. Now, looking ahead to the Oscars next, do you think we'll see some of the movies that maybe didn't get their shine tonight at the Globes do well at the Academy Awards?
Well, for sure, Wicked and The Brutalist, they are making their cases for Best Picture at the Oscars. I mean, that definitely got a boost. But there's films that came into the awards tonight, like Substance or Anora. I mean, they had a fair amount of buzz coming into this. I'm just curious to see. The Academy in the end will pick what they will pick. The voters for the Golden Globes, they have a distinct voice, and the Academy also a very distinct voice. Those nominations are going to take place on the 17th. We'll find out in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much, Will. But first, before we go, I have to ask you about our viewing partner here. Who do we have?
Oh, this is my Golden Globe, my award season buddy, Beanie. She comes with me on a lot of my star-setting adventures. We've traveled the world together, and we love our award shows. And she's all dressed for the occasion, better dressed than I am.
Oh, same here. Okay, well, we'll have to check in with you, Will, for the Academy Awards. I will surely be wearing a ball gown, and Beanie in her tuxedo, maybe, and yourself too.
Oh, trust me, she'll be decked out. So we'll have to step our game up, Allie.
Can't wait. Thanks as always, Will.
Lovely chatting.
That's Toronto entertainment blogger Will Wong. We will be right back. Do stay with us. The FBI says the man who carried out the attack in New Orleans on New Year's spent some time in Canada in 2023. Authorities say Shamsuddin Jabbar spent 4 days in Ontario in July of 2023 following a trip to Egypt.
This is one of the items that we are looking to get some clarity on as to the purpose and reasoning behind each of those individual trips.
The FBI continues to investigate, and we are learning more about his movements leading up to the attack, including 2 visits to New Orleans this fall. Investigators believe Jabbar acted alone and pledged allegiance to ISIS. A day of remembrance will be held for the victims tomorrow. Now, a huge fire in Mississauga today filled the sky with thick black smoke. It happened at a commercial building near Pearson Airport this morning. Thankfully, nobody was injured. The flames broke out around 8:30 a.m. Fire crews were met with heavy smoke on scene and upgraded the call to a 2-alarm fire. The building is close to Pearson Airport, but the smoke didn't impact any flights. Mississauga Fire will remain on scene overnight to monitor for hotspots and ensure that the fire is completely out. Halton police are investigating a smash-and-grab robbery at a jewelry store in Burlington. It happened at Mapleview Mall just before 4:30 yesterday afternoon. Police say multiple suspects wearing face coverings smashed display cases before fleeing the store. No injuries were reported. The investigation is ongoing, but so far no arrests have been made. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stay with us. There are some big changes coming to Toronto nightlife this year. You know how the city has like a club district? Well, a new bylaw has passed that will now allow nightclubs to open in almost any neighborhood in the city. Our Brittany Billette has that story for us.
When club-goers set out to party, they usually end up in the downtown core, but that could soon change. A new bylaw came into effect on January 1st, and it allows nightclubs to open in most commercial zones in the city.
It does open up entrepreneurialism in other parts of the city. It allows a different type of night economy activity to happen in other parts of the city that it may not be happening.
It's welcome news for club owners, even bars or restaurants looking to dabble in nightlife. The new bylaw allows different venue owners to expand their entertainment offerings.
It's necessary. The city's bylaws concerning nightlife are antiquated, and there was a lot of problems with how they were created in the first place.
Before these new rules, clubs and similar venues were mostly limited to the entertainment district, which some say became too small and dense.
This is going to allow us to be a little more liberal with better opportunities and better locations and better expansion, and really move the city forward.
Toronto's club district isn't just full of people traffic on busy nights, but car traffic too, which has been a long-time issue for condo dwellers in the area.
Having that activity more dispersed is probably better for everyone.
There could be problems if it's close to residences.
Others say it comes with the territory.
There's a lot of nightclubs near us and it doesn't really disturb us. So it'll be good to not drive like an hour to get downtown in traffic and kind of be closer to where you live.
But before a nightclub is approved anywhere, they still have to acquire the necessary licenses and permits. That process hasn't changed. And last call is still 2 a.m., even though some have petitioned to extend it later.
We need to adapt and stay ahead of the game.
For now, some advocates say the current bylaws are still a step in the right direction.
If we want to be a world-class city, we need to kind of look towards other desirable cities that have a thriving nightlife. We're not there yet, so this is just the start of it.
Brittany Billette, CBC News, Toronto.
Toronto residents rang in the new year on ice at the annual New Year's skating party hosted by Mayor Olivia Chow. The mayor also shared her transit-themed New Year's resolution with us.
My New Year resolution to alleviate City of Toronto traffic is to figure out a way to invest in TTC so that we could have more streetcars, more frequent subway services so that there's an alternative.
Skaters were treated to hot cocoa, live music, live entertainment at several rinks and trails across the city, including Scarborough, North Toronto, Etobicoke, and of course at Nathan Phillips Square. It's an event near and dear to Mayor Olivia Chow's heart. She says one of the first things she did after arriving in Canada at age 13 was watch hockey and learn how to skate. Now, the weather northwest of the city is a much different story than what we're experiencing here. Heavy snowfall closed every road and government building in the Grey Highlands area overnight, causing the municipality to cancel public events like the Mayor's Levee and a celebration for Markdale's 175th anniversary.
We made the decision to cancel, and as the time went on, the streamer became more severe in the sense of the wideness of it and across the whole municipality, and it just snowed and snowed and snowed the whole day.
Here you can see literal truckloads of snow. Crews have been working since 4 o'clock in the morning. All roads have since reopened, and cleanup is set to continue throughout the week. Let's check in again with Sophia Kambalia for a weather update. Much different weather picture in cottage country, huh?
Ali, thank you. Yes, a ton of snow in the Grey Highlands, the Barrie, the Collingwood, the Midland, the Orillia area. 74 centimeters just north of Barrie and Phelpston, 51 in Flesherton just south of Collingwood. They also have to deal, of course, with the blowing, drifting snow on top of the substantial snowfall that came down. This is great for the ski hills. It's a perfect situation to create that early season base. This was not great driving weather, though, this weekend. Now, the lake effect event has begun to dwindle and taper. There will be a few more chances with that cold air in the upper levels of the atmosphere that's not going anywhere for a few more lake effect streamers to come into play this upcoming week off the Huron shores Tuesday into Wednesday, and then again Wednesday into Thursday. Any snow you have on the ground will surely stick around. Now, this lake effect event wasn't as wide-arching and as intense as what we saw at the end of November when twice the amount of snow came down, but really this deep freeze is going to be super impactful. It's been 4 or 5 years since we've had a 14-day stretch where we haven't gone above the freezing mark. This is some of the coldest air on the globe that will be traversing very far south, as we mentioned earlier. Look at the feels like values for the entire week, really into the double digits. Really chilly overnight lows, especially Tuesday into Wednesday. No daytime highs above the freezing mark, even in parts of southwestern Ontario. There could be a little bit of a glass half full situation, though, that arises with maybe an earlier opening of the Rideau Canal and maybe a longer season this year. What you need to achieve that 30 centimeters of ice thickness is 10 to 14 days between minus 10 and minus 20. And we have a pretty good shot at getting close to that over the next chilly 2-week period. A quick look at Wednesday's daytime highs plus wind chill values. Before I let you go, it will feel closer to the minus 30s for the warmest part of the day in parts of northern Ontario, and it'll feel like the minus 20s in the nation's capital region. Avoid prolonged periods outside and know the signs and symptoms of frostbite. Ali.
Thank you, Sophia. That's our show for you tonight. Thank you so much.